back to our data science series. In our last video, we asked you to comment down below your questions about the data science sector that we were going to ask our data science experts so that you have the answers to all your questions related to the data science sector. And in this video, we're doing just that. We asked our data science experts some of the most frequently asked questions that aspirants and beginners have about the data science sector. So without any further ado, let's get on with today's video. Today we have with us Ashwini Jain, who has pursued his master's from the Purdue University in the US and then proceeded to work as a data scientist in the US. So you best believe that he has some of the most juicy and deep knowledge about the data science sector. So let's get started.
Hi Ashwini, thank you so much for taking time out from your schedule for this interview. So let's just start out with we know you have been a data scientist in the US. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Okay, thank you Divya for having me here. So first of all, I graduated from IIT Bombay. So my degree was civil engineering, and during my graduation, I was working on a couple of research projects, and where I basically got some exposure to data science, right? So not only data science, but how to handle big data and analysis of big data as well. So that was start in my data science journey. Then I wanted to pursue my master's mostly in the core domain, which is like civil engineering only. So I did my master's from civil engineering from Purdue. And at that time, basically, I pursued two more minors. One was in computational science and engineering because I wanted to learn some advanced level skills in programming and data science. And second is I did global supply chain management, where I again got to learn more on the management side, right? Okay, on the business side. So that was quite a good experience. And after 1 year, basically, I got an opportunity to work in the Purdue IT department. So in that IT department, I was working with the team basically where they were managing the entire Purdue campus projects, and I was a business analyst basically for them. And I started, working with them as a part-time on a part-time basis. I worked for them for 1 year, and that was a very good experience for me. And based on that work, I got an opportunity to join a construction company after my graduation. So yeah, I joined that, started working there, and solved a couple of when I joined within 5 months, basically I solved one of the toughest project of the company, and then they promoted me after 5 months, and they basically started. They told me that, hey, why don't you work on all the projects and lead the team basically. Yeah, so that was the kind of a good journey for me. And then after 2 years, after spending 2 years in the construction company, I joined a consulting company where I was managing $1 billion of clients. Okay, like 6 7 clients having budget or revenue of at least $1 billion, basically $1 billion every year. So yeah, got a good opportunity to work on the data science field. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. But how you said you wanted to pursue your masters in civil engineering. So you did not pursue a masters in data science. How did you end up in the data science sector?
So first of all, a lot of people think that data science, can be done only by programmers, or you need to have a lot of programming skills, right? Trust me, it's a myth. Okay, data science is an interdisciplinary field. Okay, and interdisciplinary means basically you need to have your domain knowledge, as well as you need to have data related skills also. Once you have both, you combine and you solve the business problems actually. Unfortunately, what happens is in India, okay, most of the work we get is from outside countries, right? And these countries basically like advanced countries, US, UK, Canada, okay, they do solve business problems using data. So most of the business related work is handled by those companies outside India only. And unfortunately, a lot of behind the scene work get outsourced to India actually, right? So whatever, you will, if you will talk to anyone here, right, they will be saying data science meaning programming or doing modeling and everything like that, right? But it's a myth actually. So, and that is a legit myth, right? Okay, we cannot do anything about it, right? So if you want to pursue career in data science, if you want to be on the business side, right, okay, I think abroad is basically the area where you can be like more on the non-technical side, right? So
Okay, that is that is something probably a lot of us did not know, that because we all think that data science is very technical.
technical, yeah.
So that was a great insight into this whole industry.
Again, coming to your point, right, how did I end up, right, if I don't have data science degree, right? Okay, so the point is these companies are not looking for technical, lot of technical people, right? Because they know that, you know, technical work can be outsourced to countries like India or, you know, Philippines, right? What they are looking is somebody having the domain knowledge, somebody having the technology background or data science, you know, data analytics or data science related background, somebody who can combine both these and, you know, solve a business problem, right? Business problem is increasing revenue, maybe, you know, reducing unnecessary cost, how to increase the productivity, how can we, you know, like managing projects or managing multiple projects as well, right? So this is what companies are looking for, and I had that experience and that was very, very helpful for them. So that's how I entered into, you know, data science field actually.
So as we've learned about this in our previous videos, that data scientist is actually quite senior level position. Like you start with data analyst, data engineer, and then you move on. So what all duties does a data scientist have to do? Does it have to do everything from data analyst, some knowledge from data engineering and everything?
That's a, you know, very good question. Actually, you know, what happens is most of the times people use these terms called data analytics or, you know, data scientist, these interchangeably. Okay, and a very good question actually also. The only difference is, you know, as a data scientist, okay, companies expect, you know, you to solve the business problem. Companies expect you to have, you know, some domain knowledge, right? If you are a data analyst, right, companies are not expecting you basically to be like on the core like or domain knowledge level, right? All they expect is like, hey, you are crunching some numbers, right? Okay, like basically you are, you know, like running some queries or, you know, you basically brought some results. But once you basically bring results, right, then what after that? How do you implement in the business level, right? That is a, you know, like very thin, you know, like thin line difference or very minimum difference, you know, between data analytics or data scientist, right? Or data science. My recommendation will be, you know, even if you are starting as an entry level, right? Okay, don't go behind the title, whether it's data science or whether it's data analyst, right? Right, okay, and you should be like focusing on solving, like, you know, hey, how can I solve the business problem, right? Okay, that is where, you know, like you can focus and you can go into like that field. Yeah, coming to, I think you said seniority, like whether it's a very senior position. I think, I mean, seniority comes basically when you have the knowledge about that, you know, domain, correct? So as a junior person, you know, basically you can not get that much knowledge, right? When you will be working, only then you will get to know more about that industry, right? And for that you need to have mentors, right, who can guide you in the industry, right, who can tell you at a senior level that, hey, this is how things are done in the industry, right? Fortunately, since when I was working in my first company, I was directly reporting to COO, CIO, and VP of, you know, one of the VP was very close to me, right? So I got to learn a lot from them, and that kind of like helped me in advancing or accelerating my career actually.
That's very nice. And we also heard that you have been a speaker in really big organizations, like there's IITs, there's Indiana University, even Purdue University, and also Microsoft, which is a big name. So how did you? What all things did you do that you got invited as speaker at such big organizations?
Yeah, that's a great point, you know, and sometimes I also wonder, you know, how I got to go, or how I got invited into Microsoft conferences also. So it started, you know, when I was working in my first company, right? Okay, I was working on one specific area. I was working on one specific tool also of Microsoft, right? And that time basically this tool was pretty new, like it was only like 2 years, okay, it was in the market for 2 to 3 years, and the kind of like a problem that I solved basically for the one of the organization, it was a big deal actually, not only for the organization but also for the Microsoft, okay, because I designed the entire architecture of that company, data science architecture, right? Like this is how we have the data, this is how it goes to the next level, right? This is how, we should basically, the end user should interact, with the platform. So I was the enterprise architect of that company, okay, which I was working for. And this was a great case study also for everyone to learn. And that's how basically Microsoft invited me for presentation. And then once you get invited at one place, right, okay, then you just basically get invited everywhere. So you just need like one thing, which basically you have done very well, and then people are, looking to learn from you, right? In fact, today also, in spite of leaving that industry, today still I'm getting, like couple of calls, in a month actually, on those things. So that's how started at Microsoft, and then, eventually started sharing my knowledge with university students as well. Yeah.
So that is also how you got promoted in your first MNC in US, right?
Yeah.
Which was actually 3 months later only, as we've heard.
Yeah, so what happened is, see, this is, I think, my personal learning also. Wherever you go, right, okay, in any organization, you have to prove yourself first. This is something, my master's professor, like, I was doing my master's at Purdue. My advisor, he also told me, he guided me, and he said, you are joining a company, right? Just for 6 months, basically, just focus on, like your work, nothing else. You have to prove yourself because you are an immigrant in this country, right? Okay. And if you're joining a new company, right, you have to prove yourself. You have to show that, your worth basically. So what happened is, when I joined my first company, within 6 months, okay, I solved like the biggest problem, the toughest problem that they were having, right? And I was just working on one project for 5 months. For 5 months, just one single project. And after solving that problem, basically COO got impressed, CIO got impressed, I was telling you, VP of one VP basically. So I solved that problem for the VP. And once I solved his problem, then he basically became, like a good friend of mine. And, he was the biggest supporter of me. And after, like once I solved that problem, they also realized that, hey, this guy has the potential, right? Okay. And they promoted me like within 5 months. That was in the first company. Second company, like when I joined a consulting firm, okay, I also started working on projects. They started seeing the value that, hey, this guy is basically bringing a good amount of value, right? Solved good projects also. And within 3 months, they're like, hey, you take your own team, basically, we trust you, and, basically you're doing some amazing work, right? And they promoted me like within 3 months, in the next consulting, in the MNC actually, yeah. So yeah, you just have to be, I would say, focused on your work, right? I think, and growth is always there, I think so.
Definitely. So, from your learning, what do you think the hiring managers actually look for? From people who are trying to enter, they might want to know.
Data science, right? That's a good question, So, see, for hiring managers, right? Okay, I will tell you from my experience, right? Okay, in my first organization, when I was reporting to, I was jointly reporting to CIO and COO both. Okay, right? CO was handling all the operations, and CIO was handling all the technology, and, like in other operations also in the company. So he knew that, he's the one who will not execute things, right? He's the one who is just building the strategy and, communicating to internal stakeholders, right? Like communicating to all the people in the company, right? He needed someone who can basically sit down, who can execute things, right? Okay, who has basically knowledge of, again, domain, as well as, like this data science field also, right? And not only like having knowledge, right? Somebody who can actually implement things, right? And that's how basically, that's the reason that they saw. And and then, like they promoted me. In my second company, again, I was referred by the chief digital officer, right? But then when my manager saw that the potential, right, he saw that, hey, he can actually, build things, right? He can implement things, okay, and he has a domain knowledge, he can take it to the next level, right? So that is where basically they got confidence, right? So in one line, I would say that, like you have to prove yourself, you have to build things in data science, right? Even if you're like doing one small project, right, just focus on one small project, right? But just focus on building, right? your manager or your hiring manager should know that this person has capabilities, right? Because today you will go to market, a lot of people will talk, right? But then eventually in the business world, right, it's not about the talk, right, that works. It's about actual things which gets implemented, that works, right? So yeah, so just focus on the work, focus on building things, building like solving the business problem, right? Concrete results, that is where you should focus on. Yeah.
Wait. This juicy interview does not just end here. We're soon coming out with the second part of this interview with even more information about the data science sector. So make sure you subscribe to Foreign and Miss and hit the notification bell so you get notified when the second part is out. And I will see you guys in the next video.